Oh, can I get you something to eat? Yes, I would like the bantha steak. Yes, sir, and how would you like that? I'll take it, Anakin. Hello there, this is Axel the Star Wars Guys, continuing these Bad Batch reviews. If you like, you can click the link to see the previous episodes. Jumping right on in here, we find the Bad Batch is still on Ord Mantell, and Omega is getting some bow training in. Definitely beats the space scenes from the previous 2 episodes. It's a pretty weird weapon, and it's curious to how it works. She's struggling a bit, arms just shaking around. The bar patrons are betting on her even hitting the target, which I found pretty funny. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like these 2 people were from the last episode. Glad they settled their differences to annoy this child, I guess. Echo is instructing her. She hits the target for the 3rd time, and she thinks the training session is done. Echo's all like, nah, 3 out of 12 is luck. You have to be consistent. Echo tells her to try one more time, her arms shaking. She attempts to take aim. Ready, set. The bolt flies everywhere and hits a holo display. Wrecker assesses that she's not really a natural at this. That's when Sid interferes. She comes in saying, "Hey, I've got a job for you." Hunter replies, "We haven't decided if we're even working for you or not." Sid comes back with, "Then let me decide for you. You're in." We're sort of given the last 5 minutes of the last episode, where Sid explains they're on the run and that working for her is the best option they have. Then she looks over to Omega and shows Omega the what force by shooting the bullseye a few times, telling Omega she has to work on her arm strength first. So cool. Anyway, the job this time is finding a tactical droid. A tactical droid is like a battle droid, and if I'm correct, they're even designed after unused concept art of battle droids. But these things are capable of learning from their opponents and getting smarter from each battle they go through. They're basically the ones who control other battle droids as well. Whoever's going to use this is trying to either avoid the Empire or defy them. These tactical droids have only really gone up against the Republic after all, and learning how to defeat clones just got more valuable. Sort of weird to see these clone troopers going to find this droid to use it exactly what it was designed for, killing clones. Like there's something haunting about it. So we find ourselves at Corellia, sneaking into this factory where droids are being decommissioned. This place is being guarded by security droids and crew members. This is what C-3PO fears most. Once inside, we see that they are actually tearing apart and melting these droids down. A game plan is made. Hunter, Echo, and Tech go and retrieve the droid. Wrecker is on the lookout, and Omega's job is to locate it. She pulls out her binoculars and looks around, while Echo and Tech make their way to the computer station. They find out there's only one more tactical droid in this facility that's not been melted yet. Omega finds the droid, and it's already torn apart, though its head is still intact, and somebody makes off with it. Wrecker sees this person, and it seems to be one of the workers. They would know how valuable this piece is, right? Omega tries to hunt this person down against Hunter's wishes, when just another one of these workers shows up behind Omega, blocking her way. Omega quickly draws her bow while this person is revealed to be a woman, and gives Omega a warning. Though it doesn't really seem like she has malicious intent, her comlink goes off, and someone says, "Rafa, where are you?" It's at this point where I started realizing who this person was, but I couldn't believe that in all of the galaxy, the Bad Batch would run into these 2 individuals. But anyway, Omega tells her not to answer it, threatening Rafa with her bow. The worker on the other side of the comlink runs into Echo and Tech really quick, and she's revealed to be another woman. And then I figured out who these people were. Anyway, Omega and Rafa have a slight standoff, but Rafa assures her that if she puts the bow down, they'll talk about it, which is met with Rafa trying to take the bow out of Omega's hands. I don't think a single person didn't see that coming. But Omega accidentally shoots a bolt right out a pipe or something, and steam bursts out, making a lot of noise, and making the real workers realize all of their presence. The real workers put the entire place on lockdown, and send in the security droids. It then turns into a fight for the droid's head, being tossed back and forth between Omega and the other girl who we find out its name is Trace. Yep, these are the Martez sisters from Clone Wars Season 7. For those who don't know, they show up in an arc and help Ahsoka, who had just been disbanded from the Jedi. They go out on this smuggling mission that goes haywire. It wasn't anybody's favorite arc, and with a season of only 12 episodes, they could have been way better with less incompetency to force the story to happen. They didn't leave a good first impression on me at all. I'll try to refrain from being too biased though. At some point here, Rafa and Hunter meet up and defend each other. Very Mr. and Mrs. Smith-like, with guns pointing at each other and shooting behind their opponent whenever a police droid shows up. Less romance though, probably a good thing. The scene does come off as pretty weird though, because she's just as good of a shot as Hunter is, civilian versus combat-trained trooper, but this scene was pretty fun. While they're being blasted from all sides, Echo and Tech well, Echo specifically, start at the console, and he turns the entire system off. Tech is like, "What are you doing?" And Echo replies, "I had to get past the shutdown." Wrecker is put on the task of resetting the system. It was established when they were sneaking around that Wrecker has a small fear of heights, so he's up there on these platforms, and now he has to swing to another. He makes it, hits his head. Why is it always the head? Turns the factory system back on, and then falls down, and says, "Good, soldiers," and keeps saying no as well. This is obviously good soldiers follow orders. We even hear Crosshair's voice at some point here. So something is gonna happen. I'm excited to see where this goes. This guy can move an entire tank by himself. Imagine what he could do to his team. Sort of scary to think about. During the exchange of the droid head, Omega is caught on the conveyor belt under droid parts. Trace ends up with the droid head, but has a change of heart. While Hunter's on his way to save Omega, Trace is the one to save Omega from the lava. Hunter gets there just in time to pull her all the way up, though. They decide to team up and escape. Echo and Trace come up with this idea to use the droid head to mobilize the literal droid army around them. Tech throws in a spike and downloads the droid Zeta, but also puts extra data in there to make sure that the droids don't just turn on them. Meanwhile, Trace and Rafa call for their droid, R7, to bring their ship. The entire group is successful, and the battle droids start taking out the security droids. At some point, Wrecker wakes up and starts absolutely destroying the droids cornering them, along with the help of the reanimated battle droids. Omega gets a few good shots in here too. They escape with the help of R7, but the droid head is lost in the process. Back at the ship, Hunter and Rafa talk. See, these two are working for people who are going to use the droid to combat the Empire, whereas the Bad Batch have no idea who's even going to end up with this info. Hunter decides to give the sisters a spike from earlier because he thinks that they'll use it for better causes. They say their goodbyes, and they go on their separate ways. Inside Rafa's ship, Rafa talks to someone. I'm not sure who though. She tells the person about the clones, and the episode ends. So, obviously a point of contention is the Martez sisters. Like I said, I didn't really care for them in their arc in the Clone Wars. They seemed bland and sort of incompetent. If that was the point of the characters, let me know in the comments below, but it wasn't a very good first impression otherwise. And those characters and episodes left a bad taste. I don't know why I feel so strongly about it, but I almost feel this episode would have been better without them. Instead being some other random person working for the pseudo-rebellion or something. Oh yeah, and what was up with them holding their own as good as the Bad Batch here? These are the same two people who barely got out of the smuggling job with Ahsoka. Only a couple days, or perhaps months later. Though I admit, it's a better direction for their characters and could redeem them from their horrible start. But the interesting thing is their contact. Obviously my mind went to Ahsoka, especially because R7 is literally Ahsoka's droid. But after a time with Ahsoka, it didn't really leave me thinking they'd keep in contact. But it's possible. I don't really think it's Bail Organa either, because that makes less sense. How would he even know these people? The last thought of those tribal group in the Solo movie, but that's all I got. So I'm pretty much going under the assumption that this is Ahsoka for the moment, because otherwise I have no idea why it would have to be these two who show up in this episode, other than the obvious reusing of assets. Something I really liked, this episode uses the last few parts that tended to feel like filler and make them feel relevant to the story being told here. But at the same time, I felt like The Mandalorian was able to make its story feel relevant pretty fast by episode 2, and it didn't stop feeling relevant. I'll grant that episode 1 of The Bad Batch felt important, and after that 2 and 3 did, but not much else until now. It could have been because I don't know where this story is going, but again, this was something I felt The Mandalorian was able to accomplish by episode 2. You knew what the story was going to be about, you know who was going to be important, and if a new character was introduced or one returned, you knew they were going to play a part later. In contrast, the show has had recognizable faces in almost every episode, and I don't know who will be important later, or if they're just here for one episode. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it feels like a lot of fan service right now. Fan service for show, not for story. Like I said in a previous episode, this is still a fun series, but so far hasn't met the amazing storytelling the Clone Wars did before it. But of course, I feel like it's still too soon to tell. Also, Clone Wars wasn't exactly loved upon its arrival either. But that's a problem I have with the series as a whole right now. I still enjoyed this episode for the most part. If you would, leave a comment down below, like this video, And if you wish to see more, please consider subscribing to this channel. This has been Axelmith the Star Wars Guy, signing off.